How can I find the missing side of 45, 45, 90-degree right triangles? So if I'm looking at this triangle here, I have 90 degrees right here. And then these two angles, the mark means that these two angles are congruent. So if they are congruent, they must equal 45 degrees each, because that would make this triangle equal 180. So this is an isosceles triangle. And one thing I know about an isosceles triangle, it has two equal sides and two equal angles. So if these two angles are 45 degrees, that means these two sides are also equal. So let's see how I can use that to find the value of that hypotenuse. Let's say that this side is 1. That means that this height here is also going to be 1. And then I can use the Pythagorean theorem to find what it will be. So I have 1 squared plus 1 squared equals c squared, this being c. 1 plus 1 equals c squared. Find the square root of both sides, and I get c equals the square root of 2. So when I am looking at a 45, 45, 90-degree triangle, there's always going to be this pattern where the legs are congruent, and then the hypotenuse is the leg times the square root of 2. So let's see how that works in an example. I have this example here. And first thing I know is that the sides of the triangle, the legs of the triangle are going to be congruent because they are both, their angles are equal, so their sides are equal. Now I can use the original reference triangle here to see what it would be like for this new one. This side 4 here is corresponding with the side 1, and I could say that this hypotenuse is corresponding with that hypotenuse, and I can use that to set up my proportion. My corresponding sides to find x here. So I'm going to write where I have two sides that I know the value for. I'm going to say 1 and 4. And the hypotenuse of my original was 2. The hypotenuse that I want to find here is x. I'm going to multiply across, and I get 4 times the square root of 2 is what x equals. And that makes sense because in our original, we had a multiplication times the square root of 2. And we see that here. We have 4 times the square root of 2 equals 4 square roots of 2. So let's see it in a different example here where I have the hypotenuse. So I again am going to use that 1 square root of 2 reference triangle here. And I am going to set up a proportion of my corresponding sides. So go ahead and pause the video and see if you can figure out what comes next. Well, I will set up what I have that are corresponding. So 1 is in the same position as x, and the square root of 2 is in the same position as the square root of 6. I'll multiply across here, and I get the square root of 6 is equal to x times the square root of 2. I'm going to divide both sides by the square root of 2. And I get the square root of 6 divided by the square root of 2. I can simplify that. And that would be the square root of 3 and equals x. And because this is a 45 degree triangle, if this is the square root of 3, so is that.